And we're going to talk about the Dolphins, who made a shocking decision to fire Brian Flores on Black Monday. I was shocked, taken aback by that particular thing. The guy won 8 of his last 9 games. There was some whispers that maybe he might be sneaking into the Coach of the Year race because of the way the Dolphins finished. They swept the Patriots this year, ending the Patriots any hopes that they had of winning the division in the last game of the season. Yet it still was not enough to convince Dolphins ownership and management to keep him. So now the Dolphins are among the teams looking for another head coach. And we were just talking about the Texans. And for me, and I'm going to say this, just because I mentioned this guy doesn't mean that I think that he's the most fantastic coach or anything like that. But when I look at what this Dolphins team probably needs right now, all things considered, I'm looking at former Patriots assistant, former Houston Texans head coach, and current Alabama Crimson Tide offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien. Wow. And I'm wondering if this is the opportunity, the time that he needs to get another shot. You got to remember how successful he was at one point with the Texans before things went off the rails. He kind of lost his locker room by being a bit too much of a control freak. And I think a lot of times guys have to learn their lesson. They have to get humbled a bit, and they come back. Now, he's not going to change who he is entirely, but some tweaks and stuff here and there. And now you maybe can do things. There's no question how well he works with younger quarterbacks and quarterbacks, period. That's part of what he does. Tua Tagovailoa very, very much needs a quarterback whisperer at this point. And they also need to establish the type of running game that they use against the Patriots in Week 18 to really, truly be effective. I think Bill O'Brien has the coaching chops to do that. And I think it would behoove Miami to give another look at a guy who could truly be a special head coach in the league because he has had some success. I know there may be some trepidation with hiring another former Belichick guy after you just fired Brian Flores, but I still think this is the right kind of move that they need to go for. They definitely need to switch the focus to an offensive-minded guy, and I like Bill O'Brien. What say you, Paul?
So what's the question?
The question is the best possible coaching candidate for the Dolphins.
Brian Flores. Yeah. Brian Flores is the best candidate, quite frankly. Answer that question. Hey, whoa now. Just, that's why I wanted to make sure I heard the question right, to make sure when it was Flores. But anyway, I'll answer the question. I feel like Mr. Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, I think he has a zest for splash, pun intended, of course. And I feel like he's going to want to get on the scuba gear, and he wants to dive into the deep end of the pool. And that includes a splashy, sexy Deshaun Watson trade. And I think that also is some sizzle with Mr. Jim Harbaugh. I think he is ready to come back to the NFL. There's a track record of success with what he did with the San Francisco 49ers. And quite frankly, I think he's looking at the mirror this morning going, this is about as good as it's going to get here at Michigan. I got him to the college football playoff. I won Coach of the Year. I'm as high as I'm going to go. It's all downhill from here, so I better hit the eject button before it's too late, while my stock is as high as it can be, and people still remember what I did in San Francisco. So for me, I think it's Harbaugh. I think Ross wants to be splashy. He's going to go Harbaugh. He's going to go Watson, grab all the headlines for the Miami Herald, and they're going to go try to win some Super Bowls.
Okay. I don't hate that concept. I don't hate it at all. Ryan Sanudo, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm going to go with actually a guy that's already linked to the Chicago Bears. I think Adam Schefter just put it out 2 minutes ago. Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, yes, I think he was offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins in 2011. So some people could say, oh, he doesn't want to go back. They fired him, blah, blah, blah. It's 10 years. It's over 10 years ago. I don't know if Daboll is really, holding a grudge over Miami over that. I feel like a lot of teams do that where they fire coaches after 1 year. They want to bring in a new staff. So I say Daboll as an option because he was actually offensive coordinator for Tua in Alabama. So if they want to bring back Tua, Dable can maybe rejuvenize Tua's play. And if let's say Tua doesn't return and they get a splashy guy in Deshaun Watson, then Dable is still an offensive guy. And I got to say, Dable's had his ups and downs, I would say, in the first half of the season. But in the second half, I've noticed Josh Allen playing a lot better, ball security. So I got to say Brian Dable. I mean, I think the Dolphins getting rid of a defensive-minded head coach in Brian Flores, getting an offensive guy, you know what the Dolphins are about. They're all about defense. I think now they should start realizing, we need offense. You look at the division with the Bills, and you pry Dable away from Buffalo. I think that's what you want to do, and see what happens. So I think Miami should definitely be interested in Dable's services.
That is interesting. I don't hate that, but I do hesitate to imagine that being the job that he takes.
Yeah, I mean,
because he'll be I think he'll be a very much sought after guy. As you just mentioned, Adam Schefter did just report that the Bears requested permission to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I just
there's really no perfect option. I mean, that's what you see every year. I mean, when it comes to head coaches, it's not like, oh, there's your golden retriever. You don't really see a really good head coach out there. You see average at best or retreads, and like you mentioned, Bill O'Brien. But I mean, there's really not someone that's perfect out there. I mean, once you fire Brian Flores, anything can happen. So I don't really know what the best option is really out there.
Yeah, I actually didn't mean it from their standpoint. I meant it more from Dable's standpoint.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the job he'll want to take. I think he'll have his pick. And going back to Miami, I just don't know. I don't know if he'll want that, but it'll be interesting. I actually think Dable's not my number one pick for the Bears, but if I'm Dable and I have to pick between the Dolphins and the Bears, I'm not sure. I
don't know if the Bears are really as good as you're saying. I mean, I think
it's not.
Honestly, my choice for the Bears.
For me, it's not that as much as it is just the overall situation that you're going into in Miami.
You don't have a first-round pick if you're in Chicago this year.
That's true. So that is true. But you got fired from Miami.
No, but that was 10 years ago. So I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And it's the same division that you've been coaching.
No, I get it.
For. I don't know. We'll see. Lorenzo, what do you say?
Yeah. I'm going to stay with the theme of offense. And you guys mentioned quarterback whisperer. Why not a former quarterback whose name is literally either number one, number two as the potential assistant who goes and becomes a head coach? I'm talking about Kellen Moore. I'm thinking Kellen Moore, this could actually be an ideal situation for Moore because, you could help out Tua Tagovailoa, especially given that you're a former quarterback. You've done wonders with Dak Prescott, who also dominated in the SEC. Tua has an SEC background. You have Jalen Waddle, another SEC star who's thriving with the Dolphins despite their offensive inconsistencies. You're already working with an Alabama guy in Amari Cooper. But again, it's Kellen Moore's name. The more that I see Kellen Moore, the more I feel like he's going to be a head coach. I feel like this potentially could be a splashy hire for the Dolphins. And for Moore, it could be a good first startup job as well.
By the way, both of them are also left-handed. So, fun fact.
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah, another thing too about Moore being a lefty.
Very interesting one there, because that is a certain type of nuance to playing the position that not everybody will be able to speak to. So I like that. I don't think any of those things are horrible suggestions. I think all of them are feasible.